Welcome! It is April, National Poetry Month, and I entreat you to take it seriously. Unlike me, however, I will begin to take it seriously now. It's Poem of the Daytime, baby! We're starting off with beautiful, well-known, and well-loved Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. But did you know that actually there are two poems called Ozymandias? One by good old dramatic, sickly Percy Shelley, and one by a fellow named Horace Smith. Does that ring any bells? No? Me neither, because we don't remember who he is, really. We know he was a friend of the Shelleys. I'm going to regale you with essentially the shortened spark notes of how did we end up with this poem, Ozymandias, that Percy Shelley wrote. And I dug up my notes from when I was teaching this at a college nearby. So Horace Smith was staying with the Shelleys, like Mary and Percy Shelley, for the holidays in 1817. At this time in England, they were kind of in their big imperial era of importing like foreign artifacts and things like that into the country. And so people were kind of getting really excited about ancient Egyptian artifacts and other things from ancient cultures that were effectively being stolen and transported into England. Horace and Mr. Shelley were no exception, and they found themselves talking about Napoleon's conquest of Egypt and all the artifacts, statues, and knowledge being imported into Britain at the time. They ended up somehow looking up a very specific quote describing a statue of Ramses II, whose Greek name is Ozymandias, and the quote was, "King of kings, Ozymandias am I. If any want to know how great I am and where I lie, let him outdo me in my work." And they kind of were like, damn, that goes hard. This statue of Ramses II / Ozymandias is amazing. We're feeling the creative juices going. And so what's interesting is that neither man actually saw the statue or the inscription. They just read about it. And they were so inspired that they challenged each other to a little contest of sonnets. Who do you think won the Ozymandias sonnet contest between Percy Shelley and Horace Smith? I'll give you a second to think, because I don't know. It's a toss-up. It's difficult to choose between the two. Needless to say, we, for the most part, remember only Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, which I have in my right hand. But Ozymandias by Horace Smith does in fact still exist. We have it. So I'm going to read to you Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, but I'm also going to read to you Ozymandias by Horace Smith, because by God, he tried. He just wasn't as good as one of the preeminent poetic minds of the Romantic era. It's okay. We're not all gonna be Percy Shelley, and I don't think we want to be Percy Shelley. He, I'm pretty sure, died in a nautical accident, which was kind of ironic because he does have a lot of his poetry includes imagery of like boats and rivers and water and stuff like that. So here, for day one of National Poetry Month, we have Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." This poem rules. I love this poem. And if this was a poetry stream today, I would talk to you about Shelley's usage of the sonnet form to write essentially what's an ekphrastic piece of poetry. Because I'm sure when you heard me read it out loud, you could hear that he is playing with sound, he is working with rhyme, he is also working with a lot of consonants and assonance to create that repeating, lulling sound. Now let's see what Horace Smith had to say. Ozymandias by Horace Smith. In Egypt's sandy silence, all alone, stands a gigantic leg, which far off throws the only shadow that the desert knows. I am the great Ozymandias, saith the stone, the king of kings. This mighty city shows the wonders of my hand. The city's gone, naught but the leg remaining to disclose the site of this forgotten Babylon. We wonder, and some hunter may express wonder like outs, when through the wilderness, where London stood, holding the wolf in chase, he meets some fragment huge, and stops to guess what powerful but unrecorded race once dwelt in that annihilated place. My apologies for stumbling and possibly misreading a couple words. So already we could see the tone of each poem is different, and I think that the central idea is very different. And to my ear, Horace Smith's version of the sonnet sounds a little bit clunkier because the rhymes are really obvious and they're kind of in your face, and it just feels like he has done less work in my mind to sculpt Ozymandias. That's what I'll say. Anyway, that was Poem of the Day! Come back tomorrow for another one!